What up guys, how's y'all doing? Well, first of all, my name is Philip and this video is gonna be a challenge mainly because English is not my first language. So if I make any mistakes guys, please bear with me, okay? The reason I'm doing this video is because I've been singing on Smule for about 2 months now and we meet people every day and some of them ask me, Philip, how can I sound better on Smule? Well, sometimes we hear only voices, other times we hear only backing tracks. So how to balance everything? How to make your voice and the backing track and the effects that you're using, how to make everything goes well and everything goes beautiful. So let's gonna talk about that in this brief tutorial that I prepared for you guys. So just a couple of warnings before we start. First of all, this is a tutorial intended for iOS devices, okay? Maybe iOS devices and Android devices has some similarities, but firstly, this is intended for iOS devices. And second, I'm assuming that you guys already know how to operate the app. I mean, how to messaging your friends, how to look for your songs, how to join collabs and things like that. So I'll be only focusing on how to sound better. If you are a VIP user, how to set up your effects and make things beautiful. And if you're not a VIP user, which effects to choose, because it can be tricky. So without further ado, let's do it. So guys, this is the first screen and you're gonna see it before you start singing, okay? So in this screen it's possible to make some adjustments. We have 3 buttons, but we're gonna forget the left button right now because this is only the help button, but rarely is gonna help someone. So let's focus on these other 2 buttons and we're gonna talk about first this button in the middle, which has this little microphone in it.
So guys, when you click on this button, you can choose the effect that you want to use, and in case you are a VIP user and if you're using a Super Pop or a Super Studio effects, you can set up this effect. But some important notes might come in handy here, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about first the Super Pop effect. This effect allows you to play with 2 options, which are reverb and pitch correction. Reverb is an effect that produces an ambience to your voice. So the higher you go with it, the higher will be the church sensation to your voice. So the wise amount or level of this effect will be between 10% and 50% depending on the song gender. Of course you don't want to sound like you're singing from inside of a well, so you might want to use it with caution. Talking about pitch correction guys, I really don't recommend its use if you are trying to sound better as if singing on pitch. This effect tends to make you sound as if you were always hitting the notes on their faces. So the further you are from the correct note, the worse you will get. You will have the sensation of a distorted or a twisted voice. That's not cool at all. A good way to use this effect is if you want to try to sound like rappers or some new pop artists who purposely make some pitch changes on their voices at specific points of their songs. But in order to do that, it would be nice if you had at least a little knowledge about music theory, because usually on the right spots you will have to sing the 3rd, 4th or the 5th note above or below to make the effect correct your tone to the dominant note, so that your voice gets a nice and well-placed pitch correction. So guys, let's gonna talk about the Super Studio effect now. This effect also allows you to play with 2 options, which are reverb and room size. Reverb, I just explained you what it is, so let's move on and talk about the room size for a moment. What this effect does is actually choose the size of the room you are singing from. The higher you go with it, the higher is the cave or the huge room sensation. It's like you're singing alone in the middle of the Notre Dame Cathedral. We can say that the room size is a complement of a reverb. So a wise setup would be between 10 and 40% depending on the song, but there is an important note here. It's not good to set up the reverb and the room size with the same level. So if you have a 40%, level of reverb, you might want to choose between 25 and 30% of room size. Keep that in mind. A distance between 10 and 15 from one to another is gonna make you sound a lot better.
Now we're gonna talk about this other button which has a small speaker on it.
So guys, if you click on this button, you'll be able to play with two volumes. The left is that annoying keyboard that guides us when we don't know the melody of the song. Best setup for this button is 0. Oh, nothing. If you don't know the song, guys, best thing to do is to learn it first. Then you can open an OC or join someone else. And the right is your mic volume. Some important notes have to be added here also. First, pay attention to the upper left side of the screen. When you are singing, there is a bar that appears on this spot. That bar is measuring the volume of your voice. You want to make sure that your volume doesn't peak. The bar is green, yellow and red. Make sure that during your singing it stays between green and yellow. Second, and another important thing if you are a singer, make sure you don't use the Apple or any mic built-in headphones. The safest choice is to use a regular headphones. Those with mic has a short distance between the mic and your mouth. So if you are not used to singing with microphones, your voice will be too loud. Doesn't matter if you are John Legend or Axl Rose or Katy Perry, or if you have the most beautiful voice in the whole world, we still want to hear a mix between your voice and the backing track. A nice setup for your mic volume would be about 70%, as it is on the picture that we are showing.
Now we're going to talk about the last screen you will see before you can save your recording. So let's take a look at it.
So guys, this is screen you will see once you finish singing your song. Let's analyze it. As you may know, our sound is interpreted as waveforms by any device. And here we have this interpretation that is shown inside of this red rectangle. If you look carefully, you will realize that on both upper and bottom edges, those lines look flat. That happens because our volume is breaking through the edges, and it's making you sound bad. Because when the waves breaks through those edges, it means that your volume was peaking. What you hear is a distortion to your voice. It's like suddenly you are Kurt Cobain and nobody told you about that. As pretty as his voice sounded, it's not a good thing here, guys. So let's make sure to keep the waveforms with a safe distance from those edges as shown on this picture. You can see that on this example, all the waveforms are inside and with a safe distance from those edges. And you also can see inside of this rectangle that my volume is -7. I'm not a soft singer, I'm more of a rocker style kind of thing. So usually it's a safe setup for my volume. You can leave it between 0 and -12 depending on your dynamics. As long as the waveforms are inside of those edges with a safe distance, you shouldn't experience any problems and you will sound better for sure. If you're not a VIP user, you won't be able to change the effects specifications. So I advise you to choose studio or polished effects. But don't forget that you can do everything else to sound better. Make sure you adjust your volumes properly in order to sound like a rock star or whichever gender star you want to be.
Well, this is it, guys. Those tips might be silly to some of you, but I'm sure it will help a lot of our friends which are singing for fun and do not understand all those crazy things of our crazy music world. So I hope I could be helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for the new videos that we are about to do. And feel free to reach out to me if you are having some doubts. Don't forget to leave your comments. So if you are having some problems, if you want some other tips, I could do it for you guys, okay? So until the next time, and see you in another video. Bye guys.